Robbery in progress. All cars in the area.
Every day, hundreds of thousands of patrolmen report for duty, armed with a badge and the latest in video technology. You are about to witness their never-before-seen footage. Their stories caught on tape. Now on Disorderly Conduct. This suspect takes a header. This driver is headed for disaster. And this head case thinks he's king of the world. From close calls to direct hits. It's time for Disorderly Conduct.
Just put an APL on an armed robbery suspect.
This is the beginning of what's commonly known as a high-risk stop. It's late at night in Salt Lake City, where an officer tails an armed robbery suspect and his passenger.
Stationary, 54 South Stand.
Since there's a good chance these guys are trouble, the cop wants to wait for backup.
Ian Sarge, where you at, man?
The officer hasn't even flipped on his lights yet, but he decides he better be prepared for a pursuit.
All right, guys, let's get some units south of us with spikes.
Finally, there are several cruisers on the scene, and it's time to pull this pair over.
Right about now.
When the vehicle stops,
Show me your hand!
the officer immediately lays down the law. At first, the driver seems to comply with orders.
Drop the keys out the window! Keep your hands up!
But then the man seems to hesitate.
Get out of the car now! You'd rather not?
The lawman quickly loses patience.
Get out of the car right now! Okay, guys, if this goes sour, we don't have any compliance.
He's also on the lookout for a gun.
Guys, these guys are armed robbery with a pistol.
Finally, the driver steps out.
This is it, guys. Back up! Turn around, back up towards the sound of my voice!
It looks like he's complying, but the cop's keen eye spots a gun holster under his shirt.
Off gun.
Off gun means the officer spots a weapon within the man's reach. It's time for the taser.
Oh!
The jolt of juice causes the suspect's head to shatter the window.
Hands on the back!
Meanwhile, his female juvenile passenger is ordered out of the car.
Go, off gun. Cut them up.
It turns out the officer's suspicions prove correct when a loaded pistol is found on the man.
Off gun. Off gun.
That's why he felt the need to taser him, even though his hands were in the air.
Down on the ground now!
When the suspect regains his strength, he's reportedly charged with both armed robbery and possession of an illegal weapon. A desperate and dangerous driver is on the run in Ocala, Florida. Police say the armed man carjacked this pickup after telling his mother-in-law he's coming to kill her. The convicted felon also told friends that if anyone tries to stop him, he's going out in a blaze of glory. As the suspect pulls away from ground units,
Yeah, traffic's too heavy for me.
a police chopper scrambles to get on top of the chase. The black truck zooms through traffic at 90 miles an hour. The video picks up the drama from here. The man doesn't even brake as he slams into the back of one vehicle, then careens into another.
Damn. Signal 4. Send medics.
The officer speeds to the accident site where he finds 3 heavily damaged vehicles. The scene is horrific, but incredibly, no one loses their life. 5 people are hurt, with the suspect receiving the most critical injuries. He survives, but he still has a very tough road ahead. He faces a slew of charges, including carjacking, being a felon in possession of a firearm, and reckless driving. Converse, Texas. Officers are in hot pursuit of a car carrying 2 possibly armed suspects. But when they get off at an exit, things get a little harder to handle. The driver loses control and hits the retaining wall. Then careens across a grass median as he fakes an attempt at jumping from the car. Suspects cross a median again onto another exit. But once on the side streets, this chase turns into a dead end. Both suspects hightail it out of the car and leave it rolling into the curb. But the law is close behind. The passenger is caught moments later. The driver of the car was brought to the police the next morning by his mother. After he took her car without permission, he got himself in a police pursuit and charged with fleeing. Bad boy. There's more disorderly conduct next. An SUV goes one-on-one with a semi. And at least these thieves get an A for creativity. It'd be a crime if you don't stay tuned for more disorderly conduct. Inside that SUV is a convicted sex offender. And to make matters worse, his passenger is a 14-year-old boy who's been reported missing. Troopers pursue the stolen Lexus through Colleton County, South Carolina. The 27-year-old man hits speeds of 100 miles an hour as the chase races toward the town of Walterboro. Of course, before officers can make a move, they have to consider the safety of the child. Suddenly, the suspect makes a move of his own. He cuts across the median and heads directly into oncoming traffic. Now look closely and you'll see the SUV slam into an 18-wheeler. An investigator later said that it appears the suspect intentionally hit the truck. Incredibly, both the boy and the trucker escaped relatively unharmed. As for the suspect, he's critically injured in the high-speed head-on. You're looking at an ATM at a bank in Overland Park, Kansas. It's planted in concrete and pretty much impossible to move. Unless, like these crooks, you bring the right tools for the job. That's a stolen Bobcat tractor. And it can move just about anything it wants. It only takes a few shots to get the ATM knocked down in the parking lot. Then it's quickly moved off camera with the big shovel. Cops are on the scene moments later responding to an alarm. But too late to stop the bad guys from making off with the machine. The ATM emptied of cash was later recovered. But police are still looking for the crooks who made the withdrawal and hoping to deposit them in jail. In Memphis, Tennessee, police chase a dangerous convict in a stolen car. The suspect escaped with a fellow inmate from an Alabama prison. Police believe he killed the other convict, then hijacked at least 2 cars as he made his way into Tennessee. Now a news chopper follows the action as he tries to stay ahead of cops in a risky high-speed chase. He screeches to a stop, then backs up and turns a hard right. At one point, he's on the wrong side of the road. Moments later, he roars through an intersection, barely touching the brakes. The man is truly an armed and dangerous accident waiting to happen. Coming up on a busy intersection, the suspect goes on the wrong side of the road again. But this time, heads into a gas station. He may be running out of gas, but he's not here to fill up. He's here to get another car. The suspect throws a citizen out of his car and starts to drive away. But cops are in close pursuit. He barely makes it out of the lot, then slams the open door into a van in the middle of the street. Somehow, the suspect escapes serious injury. But he won't be escaping the law today. He's covered by a wave of men in blue and taken down for the count. It's been one wild afternoon on Memphis city streets, but no one is seriously hurt. And the suspect even has a few kind words for his girlfriend, at least as well as he can say them with a bloody face and a tongue ring. Which is possibly as much time as he might get behind bars. It starts with an ominous 911 call.
Yes, there's a man with a gun.
Okay, who has the gun?
Me.
A seemingly suicidal man in Clayton County, Georgia wants police to know he's about to take care of business.
What are you planning on doing with the gun?
Hopefully I'm gonna shoot me.
An officer somehow convinces him to put the pistol on the hood of his pickup. This goes on for 30 long minutes with the man begging officers to shoot him. Then it's a case of now you see it, now you don't. The man barely shrugs his shoulders and acts like he's just waiting for some friends. He may not know it, but these cops really are his friends since they end up saving him from himself. Just seconds away on disorderly conduct.
Vehicle is running.
This car goes for a roll, and this guy's on a roll.
What, bitch? You got it, bitch!
Roll out with more disorderly conduct next. State Trooper Linda Powell is on patrol with a cameraman riding along in Fort Myers, Florida. Things are pretty quiet, but not for long.
Hi. about hitchhiking. I'm just walking.
You can't walk.
Well, gee, that's a nice thing. Why don't you arrest me? I've been arrested 29 times. As an adult, you can do what you want, bitch. Got it? You want my ID?
Yes, please.
Fine, bitch.
Well, it sure looks like somebody got up on the wrong side of the bed this morning. Trooper Powell keeps her composure, but the one-man roadshow is just getting started.
Why are you yelling?
Because you're a bitch.
Because I asked you.
You.
The trooper calls for some backup.
You got it, bitch. You got it, bitch.
All right.
Fine, bitch.
But the man has no doubts about who's really in charge here. She's taking verbal abuse, but it's all part of the job.
Is that supposed to hurt feelings or something? It don't work.
Ooh, you're bad with that badge and gun, bitch. You got it loaded, bitch? Well, take a couple shots, bitch. You understand me, bitch?
Suddenly, with the arrival of backup units, things get a lot more respectful.
Here's your ID back. You're not wanted.
Thank you, man.
Now you need to get off the interstate.
Now you have all my respect. Thank you.
But the guy just can't help himself. Only this time, no one's going to take it.
It's about coming to that. Yeah, you're starting up again.
Yes, sir. Great, sir. Yeah, hey, bud. This is my favorite thing to do. Yeah, it sure as hell is.
The suspect was arrested and charged with breach of peace.
I've been arrested 29 times as an adult. I don't like your damn car, and I don't like damn looks, bitch!
And if you think it was quite an act, you're right.
You pig!
He later claimed he was pretending to be crazy so he could be admitted to a hospital and get free drugs.
I'm called
A strategy that almost worked, even if it still sounds crazy. An officer pulls over two men in a car with no license plates in Bourbon, Montana.
Somebody 1016 with a red Buick, no plate information.
They've got no plates, but they've got some nerve.
The vehicle is running.
The officer hits the siren. And the suspects unload their cargo. They're racking up the violations.
Ran a stop sign.
That's small stuff compared to what happens next.
Just went off the road, Flipped over.
The suspect loses control on a curve as the car rolls 3 times to the right of your screen. It doesn't look good for whoever's inside. But if you're wondering about the safety of the two suspects, wonder no more. Somehow, the pair find their way out of the wreck unharmed and take off on foot. The officer pursues. But the two have escaped for now. The men with no plates were served justice days later. They were caught and charged with fleeing and felony resisting. But for a while, they were on a roll.
Flipped over.
Acting on a tip, officers from a police drug unit chase a car with 2 suspects in Albany, Georgia. The pair are believed to be holding a large quantity of marijuana with the intent to sell. But it's going to be a pretty hard sell getting away from these cops. As they near a bridge in town, the suspects look ready to pull over. But look closely at what's coming out the passenger window. That's a backpack, and right after it, that's a suitcase headed for the water below. Both contain what later turns out to be 11 pounds of pot. Meanwhile, they're up a creek as cops cut them off and come out with guns drawn. Unfortunately for the suspects, the pot toss didn't have the desired effect. The backpack landed on the shore, and the suitcase was recovered floating downriver. The two were charged with marijuana possession, eluding, and, as you can see for yourself, tampering with evidence. In Woodstock, Georgia, a young man flees a routine traffic stop in a parking lot. The suspect brakes to the outside lanes and hits the gas. But when he finally finds the right side of the road, he loses all control. The suspect can't handle the curve, nearly hits an oncoming car, and executes a combination 360 flip into a field. Officers pull up to the wreck with guns out. You can barely make out the overturned car in the cloud of dust. They search inside, but the driver has already split into some nearby woods. Turns out, he's no better at running than he is at driving. He's brought back in cuffs and charged with DUI, fleeing, and driving with a suspended license. And, oh yes, improper use of a turning lane, which he still endured a lot better than the turn down the road. Next up on Disorderly Conduct. A suspect gets his life turned around. And this guy's in danger of getting that run-down feeling.
He's running across the freeway.
No need to exit. Disorderly Conduct is coming right back. In Tifton, Georgia, police try to rein in a suspect driving a reportedly stolen SUV. But cops have a little surprise waiting ahead in the fast lane. Or so they hope.
He missed the stage. He missed the stage.
The suspect is alert and goes off-road to avoid the spike strip. Cops switch to another tactic, trying to box him in as they blaze down the freeway. It's pretty tricky going, but it looks like it might work until the suspect pulls a desperate move. He heads onto the median, crosses oncoming freeway lanes, and flies the wrong way up an entrance ramp.
I need to get him slowed down, so don't hurt yourself. We're back off if needed.
Cops want to pit the suspect, but he's moving too fast, and the stakes only get higher as they get closer to town.
We can't keep letting him go through town like this. Well, you go get somebody hurt, I'd rather back off and let him go. If you can, put him up here, but be careful. Take him out, take him out, take him out.
They get their chance when the suspect makes a slow left turn. The lead officer in the blue unmarked car gets the suspect turned around. Backup units box him in and bring him to a stop head on. The suspect tries to flee out his window, but cops take him down off camera. He's charged with eluding and reckless driving. And that should keep him boxed in jail for a while. A stolen car suspect is on the run near San Diego, and ground units have lost him in the dark. It doesn't take long before the suspect is spotted.
He going southbound. He's off to your right. He's on 805 now.
Showing he's either suicidal or just plain stupid, the guy ventures onto the freeway.
He's running across the freeway westbound. Now laying down in the northbound lane.
After a brief break, he takes off and jogs next to the center divider.
Running northbound on the center divider.
Then he decides he's had enough of life in the fast lane and heads across the other side of the freeway.
Okay, he's crossing the center line. He's running westbound across southbound traffic right now.
By now, the suspect knows he's being chased from cops on the ground and in the air.
Running down into the canyon towards National City.
After cutting down a small canyon, it looks like he's going to take sanctuary in a church.
Hey guys, right off to your left, right off to your left. He's in those buildings there by that church lot.
But he doesn't have a prayer because officers spot him right away.
You got him. They're taking him into custody.
He's quickly caught and cuffed. He will reportedly face charges of auto theft and eluding police. A Garden City cop flips on his lights to pull over a guy for speeding on this Georgia highway. But the driver has other plans.
207, Chatham. About run that tag. He's not stopping. 516, heading toward Bay Street.
The officer has a ride-along on board, and he prepares him for action.
Seatbelt on.
The officer calls for backup.
If somebody can catch me, I'm gonna hit him. On the 17 now. Looks like he's gonna head back towards Savannah.
The driver gets off the highway and onto wide-open city streets. The perfect place for the pit maneuver. The officer rams the back of the suspect's car, spinning him out of control.
Got him, I hit him.
When the cop turns around, the suspect tries to bail out the passenger door. But the cruiser pins him to his car.
Got him, I got him. 295.
It turns out the suspect is carrying plenty of drugs on board. In addition to eluding officers, he's also booked for felony possession of cocaine with intent to sell and driving under the influence. There's plenty of great videos straight ahead on disorderly conduct. A suspect gives police the runaround. And this officer never sees it coming.
Go after that guy.
There's more action coming your way on disorderly conduct. A couple of guys are cruising through Van Buren, Arkansas. An officer thinks this might be a booze cruise since the pickup's been weaving. After a brief chat, the trooper asks the driver to step out so he can check him out. The guy doesn't smell of booze, but he's anxious enough to make a cup of coffee nervous. The cop is also suspicious because the young man seems to hide his midsection. Understandably, the officer wants to know if he has any weapons. After placing his pocket knife on the truck, the suspect rolls out a crumpled cigarette pack. The officer wants to take a look inside the pack, but the suspect takes off. When the guy runs, the officer's instinct is to go for his weapon. The pursuit lasts all of 6 seconds as the man dashes around the pickup before wisely giving up the chase. The officer trains his taser on the suspect to make sure he doesn't change his mind. In this second look, it appears the man throws something into the truck. When backup arrives, an officer finds the crumpled cigarette pack in the cab. A close inspection finds methamphetamine in the pack. Officers also find marijuana in the pickup. Both the driver and his passenger are booked for possession of illegal drugs. A security camera keeps a close eye on a customer in a Taylorsville, Utah department store. Something about the man's behavior has alerted store security. Of course, he hasn't done anything wrong. He's just looking around a lot. Nothing wrong with that. A few minutes later, he's walking around carrying a vacuum cleaner in a box. Nothing wrong with that either. Maybe he's just taking his time before he goes to the register to pay for it. With vacuum cleaner in hand, the guy stops to browse through more merchandise. That's normal, although he does seem to be a little nervous. At last, he's ready to go and walks to the front of the store. But as the camera shows, he's not headed for the checkout. He's headed for the front door. There he goes. And there goes a store security team on his heels. The man runs for a waiting car. That's right. This vacuum heist is a planned operation, complete with a wheelman. Store security guard is on top of the suspect. He holds on, but the driver takes off. Store employees run to help as the security guard is dragged by the car off camera. He manages to get free with minor injuries. For now, the suspects make a clean getaway with the vacuum cleaner. But they played dirty to get it. And all the evidence is right here on tape. Greenville, South Carolina. Deputy Will Richter and his partner pull over a young man for speeding. The officer has done this hundreds of times and is ready for anything. Anything but this. A speeding car clips the cop. But he quickly regains his cool.
Go after that guy.
Deputy Richter is training the other officer who must be encouraged to leave his instructor.
Go get him.
Investigation shows that he was hit by the side mirror of a red Toyota. And in the end, Deputy Richter ends up with a few bruises, while the negligent driver gets away with his crime. An officer pulls over a suspect for driving with illegal tinted windows in Albany, Georgia. The driver steps out of the car, ignoring the cop's request to get back in the seat and hand over his license. Instead, he wants to run. Off camera, the officer tries to restrain him, but he slips away. Backup officers scramble to help out. Another patrol car heads to a nearby street with hopes of intercepting the suspect. And sure enough, there he is, fleeing on foot from a third officer, who brings him down with a flying tackle. It's the end of the game for the suspect who was brought down far short of his goal. But it's something to cheer about for the officer who originally made the stop. He missed the play of the day, but that's okay, because back at the man's car, he's already grabbed 7 pieces of crack cocaine off the front seat. The suspect is charged with resisting arrest and drug possession. All thanks to some pretty good teamwork by the men in blue. More disorderly conduct is just moments away.
Damn so hot out here. Out here.
An explosive drama in Texas.
What was that? They go at it.
And this suspect can run, but he can't hide.
Your pants?
It's all next on Disorderly Conduct. From a distance, he looks like a guy relaxing on the porch in a rocking chair. But this man in Point Blank, Texas means business. And Point Blank is right. He's holding a .357 Magnum on himself with a string attached to the trigger.
I just want to talk to you. I want to help you out, okay?
Ain't nobody can do for me.
I know one thing. It's damn sure hot out here.
Right here.
Cops try to talk to the man who's upset over his medical problems.
And you've been friends for so damn long and stuff. I just wish we could work this out.
He seems determined to end it all today.
I appreciate you guys letting me spend my last day right here.
You know damn well I do it for you.
Nothing you can do about this.
But there is something they can do about it. The lawmen have arranged for a third cop to drive a truck past the house, creating a distraction. When the man in the rocker looks, the cops move into action.
What the hell is that?
The deputy in the middle tosses a stun grenade. Off camera, other officers hit the man with beanbags and rubber pellets. The man struggles to pull the trigger on himself, but the string jams the hammer, and the gun will not fire. Cops take the gun from the man. He's subdued and taken into custody.
He had the frame wrong and he fell on that gun. He snapped it 2 or 3 times.
It could have turned out a lot worse than it did.
I want to help you out, okay?
Ain't nobody can do for me.
But in the end, no one was hurt on this very hot day in a town called Point Blank. Cops chase a suspect driving a big rig in Splendora, Texas. The suspect was spotted driving recklessly and running cars off the road. Now police are trying to do the same to him before things really get out of control.
Southbound crossing onto the feeder.
The suspect gets off the freeway and back on moments later. And he's causing as much damage as he can, taking out a sign and busting the rear door of the trailer. The suspect throws a bag out the window. Cops believe it may be drugs.
Spike set up just south of 242.
Up ahead, cops are preparing to throw a spike strip as the suspect heads straight for them. But it looks like the troopers get the last laugh. The suspect tries to swerve away from the strip too late. Moments later, the front tires start to shred. Only one thing to do now, find an exit.
Running off the exit of the Hardy Tow Road.
But he can't handle the turn and runs off into a ditch, surrounded by patrol cars. The suspect is dragged out of the cab at gunpoint, and when he resists arrest, he's tased. Police believe he was under the influence of methamphetamine. He was charged with fleeing an attempted murder for trying to run over those troopers. Four guys are pulled over in Woodstock, Georgia. It's no big deal. Just a simple stop for expired plates. But when the cop prepares to approach the driver, everything changes. The maroon Mitsubishi zooms into the night. The officer has no idea why they're running, but he's not about to let them get away. After a short distance, the driver pulls into an industrial park and stops. Look closely, and you can see the man running from the car. While he books into the bushes, the officer focuses his attention on the remaining passengers.
Hands up, now, hands up. Suspect is running toward Main Street. I'm gonna be with the vehicle.
The trooper figures the driver is long gone and can only hope his fellow cops can track him
A
down.
white belt, black pants, black shirt.
Suddenly, a fleet-footed figure goes flying by. Wait a minute, that guy looks like the suspect. But it looks like he's changed his pants. Maybe he's hoping he'll be mistaken for a colorful jogger, but the cop isn't buying it. The 19-year-old is quickly thrown to the ground
Get out, please. Canadian suspect.
and taken into custody. It turns out the teenager was driving a stolen car,
Stolen car.
and he's charged with receiving stolen property, fleeing, and reckless driving. Apparently, he turned around when he came across more cops. As a result of that U-turn, he's going straight to jail,
Your pants? Yes, sir.
where he will need another change of pants. Sunday.